Pew pew pew.
Pew pew.
Have you seen that what is it? Oh yeah, have you seen that TikTok? Well, you would have anyway. And it's like pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew. Hold up. Wait a
minute. It's a chopper. Have you seen the one that I put on TikTok of me and my mum doing it?
I feel like I have.
It's so funny. I was laughing.
I had to do it by myself.
She found it so hard to learn. I was like, why are you finding this?
Why is this so
I
difficult?
done half and she done half. I was like, you're literally learning like 5 words. Why are you
It's a
finding
chopper.
this so difficult? Yeah, literally.
It's a chopper. Wait a minute.
Hello, welcome to Sofa Sunday.
This is where you come every Sunday with a drink, whether that's coffee, if it's a water, if it's a gin, if it's wine. Just come and sit and listen to us chat crap for however long this is going to be.
Exactly. Could be anywhere between
So-
15 and 40 minutes because we are talkative people.
Very.
We don't shut up.
I just go on a rampage, don't I? I'm just there like, honestly, I don't shut up. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode.
Yes.
I look so sarcastic in this, don't I?
I hope you enjoy this episode.
I'm such a weird mood today.
Yeah, so am I. I'm like in a really hyper mood.
I know.
It's gonna be great content.
Yeah. This week's episode is us just having a chat really about kind of what paths we feel like we should be taking in our lives, because I feel like we're so young that it's kind of hard to kind of tell
Yeah.
obviously you can't tell when you can't control as much what's going to happen in life, but you know, whether or not to kind of live your life whilst you're young and go travelling, do that sort of stuff, or start thinking about getting a mortgage and that sort of stuff. So we're just going to have a little chit chat about kind of our opinions
Yes.
and what we think that we want to do in our lives, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Really. So shall we do it?
We shall do it.
Let's do it.
So, basically, I am stuck, like you said, with the whole thing of, do I save so that in the future I can have the lifestyle I want? Or do I live right now in the moment and spend the money and go travelling and do the things I want to do, but then risk having no money in the future or no savings and, you know, and as well, do I travel or do I work, like, to get those promotions and build myself up, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
such a difficult thing to decide.
I think because I work in TV and Harriet, you work in film, so I think our paths are very different to normal people's paths.
Yeah.
Because like for us, you know, we've entered the industries very, very young, so I think for us we've prioritised that over anything else, because we're like, right, I'm in the industry, I need to work my way up kind of as quick as possible whilst I'm young. Yeah. Get as much experience as I can now, so then in the future, you know, you're already in a good position by the time you're like mid to late 20s.
Exactly, because like, especially in these industries, like, I think you want to be in a position where you can sort of, especially with freelancing as well, you want to know that you can get another job after the job you have, and it all comes with experience. So if you don't have that experience, you're not going to have a job lined up after another. Like, and I mean, I guess with every position, you're going to have that gap because you're freelancing. So, you know, you're not always guaranteed work, but you want to make sure that you're secure in your job. And it's kind of difficult to do that when you don't have the experience in your CV to say, oh, well, I am qualified to do the next one and I'm qualified to do this one. You know, they might pick someone else to do it who's more qualified. So you want to sort of build up your portfolio and build up your experience. But at the same time, I mean, I'm 20 tomorrow and, you know, all my friends are at university, like, you know, having a blast and getting drunk and going on nights out. And, you know, I've been working for like the past 2 years. I've had a lot of people when I was at work say to me, you know, are you sure you wanted to come into this industry so young? And, you know, I wouldn't change anything about it because I loved the experience I had. And like, I think it was really good for me to start like at 18 because I sort of learned so much at a young age. But also they were right, like I missed out on so much things that 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds are doing.
I feel like our path though has matured us both a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think, because I started in TV when how old was I? I was 20. Yeah, I would have been 20. So I matured very, very quickly, I think, because of obviously entering the industry and stuff like that. You have to act professional. So I think from a young age, and that's probably the same with you, like you've had to be professional and you've had to mature, whereas uni's great, and there's part of me that is kind of gutted in a sense that I didn't get to experience that whole life. However, does uni really mature you? Really?
That's it.
When you're in, like, I'm not slagging off people that go to uni at all. I think hats off to you. That is, like, fair play to you, because it's a graft, do you know what I mean? And I know, like, so most of the people I know have gone to uni, so I think it's amazing. However, there's a lot of people that come out of it still very immature and not really, if you don't, like, I think we're in a very privileged situation where we know what path in industry we want to work in.
Exactly.
So we're very lucky. However, you know, there is a lot of people that kind of use it almost as a stopgap, which is fine, but I don't know, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I think there's people who come out of university still not knowing what career path to take. And I mean, there's people who are like 40 and they still don't know what jobs they want. Like, so it's not a bad thing. I'm not like shitting on people who don't know what they want to do. You know, so many people change their career paths like halfway through their lives. Like, and I think, like Karis was saying, like, we're in quite a privileged position where we know what we want to do. But yeah, for me, like, university wasn't really an option because I knew what I wanted to do and I had the opportunity to do it. So I was like, do I go to university and get experience for a job that I'm being offered right now? Like, you know, I should take this opportunity. A lot of people obviously didn't have that. Like, at 18 they didn't get offered a job like in London, so they obviously want, and sometimes you need to go to university for the qualification. Like, I think that's the thing we're forgetting. Like,
we didn't need to.
In our industry, it's not like a necessity to get a qualification in film or TV. Like, you know, I think some people like to learn about film and TV, so that's great, like, do that. But I think it's not a necessity. Whereas, like, in a lot, you know, if you want to be a scientist or a teacher or something like that, like, you need that qualification. So again, we're not shitting on university. But again, like we were saying, I think we were in the position where we didn't necessarily need to go to university to get the job that we wanted to, or the career we wanted to pursue. So I think that's sort of why we didn't go. But again, like, I look at all my friends who are at university sometimes, I'm like, oh, because of the social side of it. There's a whole different social side that we're never going to experience, and I think that's something that we've missed out on and we're going to be a bit gutted about, but
sad about. Yeah, exactly. But I think in regards to paths in life, really does obviously depend on you as a person and your career. I think for me personally, I've found it very hard over the past kind of 6 months kind of deciding and thinking about what I want to do in my life in general. I think you can't really gauge and plan too much, but I want to always have some sort of understanding of where I want to be and what I want to, like, what I want to gain almost and stuff like that. And I think for me, I have spent a lot of time being in a situation where I am not financially stable, and I've had those money worries because there's nothing that that gives me more anxiety than financial stress.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
That sends my anxiety through the roof.
I don't like owing money, even if it's to a friend. No. I hate owing money, so I will never ever want to be in debt. I've never been in debt, and I never plan to be. And I know it's not something that people plan to have, but I've never even, I would never take out a loan unless I absolutely had to.
You have to.
Like, and I think it's just something that it's not really an option for me. I really couldn't. I mean, part of the thing right now is that I'm living at home because I can't afford to move out. If I could, I would, but I wouldn't borrow money to move out because I feel like that's not my money. And I'm just staying here because I don't want to, like, take money and then owe it to someone. I've really just have that sort of, it gives me anxiety. Like, I really just don't like the knowledge of thinking. That's as well with, like, student debts. Like, I know it's not a lot, like, because when you're paying it back, it's not a lot. Like, you just sort of, but knowing I have a debt, that just really just unsettles me.
It's a stress. It is a stress. And I think for me personally, and having seen people close to me struggle financially, being older, I really
don't want to be in that position.
No, I want to be able to save as much as I can at my age, still being able to live at home, and then when I'm older, because the thing is, like, stuff like traveling and everything like that is still going to be there. We can still go on all these holidays and stuff like that when we're 30, 40 odd. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not going anywhere. I just think maybe there's some sort of, I feel like a sense of pressure to be living my best life, to be going on holidays, to be traveling, to be doing this, to be doing that, whereas I should just be in my own lane, living my own life, doing what I want to do that's going to benefit me for my future.
I think that's sort of linked
don't
to
get
our,
me
like,
wrong,
social media episode where we were saying you have that pressure of like seeing everyone else traveling, and you just want to do what they're doing to be like, oh, I can do that too. But I think we need to realise that, you know, stay in our own sort of lane and stay on our own path and figure out what our path is. I guess. Like. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's like really important. Like, don't get me wrong, if I had the money, I would love to go travelling. Oh, of course. There's there's so many places in the world that I want to go to and visit, and I'd love to like move abroad for like a couple of months and something like that and experience that. However, I can't see myself being in that position anytime soon financially. And I know a lot of people will just pay for like a holiday on their credit card, for example, like $1,000 or a couple grand or something like that. I
wouldn't do that.
Gives me heart palpitations. Honestly,
that made me go really hot, just you saying credit card.
Really hot right now.
As long as you're careful with your money, that's fine. And you know, I know people who have credit cards who are very good with them. Like they pay them off every month. It's just sort of like part of their system. It actually helps them like pay things. But for me, I know, like, I just chip away at it. And I am very careful with money in the respect that I don't spend what I don't have. But I think if I had a credit card, I'd sort of be like, oh, well, I can just pay this off at the end of the month. I wouldn't realise how much I'm actually spending, because I think you do it with your bank card as well. Like, little £2 chocolate bar or crisp or whatever. Like, at the end of the month, you're like, crap.
Honestly,
how much did I spend
on food? Every month, I would, obviously I'd put money in savings and stuff like that, but everything else, I would kind of see how much I was spending on, like, you know, I'd go to Primark and the odd like £30 there, and then going out for like lunch and going for coffees with my friends and everything like that. It would add up so quickly throughout the whole month. And during lockdown, obviously not having a job and stuff like that, I've been having to save my money. And then I was thinking, I was like, how much money I was spending on pointless crap. Like, I was like, I don't need to be doing this all the time. It's a bit ridiculous, really. But I think, I think for me, just in life, I'm always going to have money in the back of my head and thinking, right, how I need to be saving this month and much a month and stuff like that, especially if you're thinking, because, oh my God, like the housing market is so expensive nowadays. Yeah. How the hell are we supposed to get a house on our own?
We're not.
Like, it's impossible. Like, the people that I know that have got their own place at kind of around my age or like mid-20s, they're either with their partner or they've got financial support off like their family. They haven't done it purely just by themselves, because I think it's actually impossible unless you're minted. Unless you're like really minted at a young age, or, you know, you're from a rich family. Fabulous. I'm very, very happy for you. Like, thrilled. But none of us, I'm not that lucky, so have to graft for it.
Will struggle to get into the housing market, and I think that's something that our generation's definitely going to struggle with. That's the thing, like, do you want to save up for a house and make sure you're in a secure place, or do you want to travel? Because that's the thing for me as well. I think we were talking about this last week after we finished the video. I don't know where I want to settle yet. So it's, for me, like a mortgage, I'm going to be like, right, well, I know I want to sort of stay there for at least a few years. But, you know, I'm still at the age where I'm like, I don't know if I want to live in England. I don't know. I know I want to go to LA for a bit. It's sort of that thought in the back of my head of where am I going to settle, because I don't know right now. And I think that's another thing that's with money is, do I travel? Do I go to all these places I want to go to? Or do I save so that I can eventually put a deposit down on a mortgage, and if and when I find that place, I'll have the money to do it.
Do you find it weird? Because for me, last summer, I worked on Bake Off, obviously, and I was doing that. But I can remember at the time just thinking, I want to do more. I was constantly not feeling like I was doing enough because everyone was going on holiday and I wasn't. But I look back on last summer and I was like, now I'm like, that was literally probably the best summer of my life. Like, didn't go on holiday, but I had an amazing job. I was spending loads of times with my friends and my family. Like, I just look back and I was like, wow, that was amazing. But at the time, I just I couldn't see it. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. So I think, if doing what I want to do in regards to, saving for a mortgage and that sort of stuff, there'll be stuff like holidays and stuff like that probably won't be able to go on because I've got to save, but I think there's still things that you can do that are as valuable when spending time with your friends and your family and looking back, because my favourite memories are like, days out with my friends and spending time with my family. Like, those are my favourite kind of memories. I think sometimes, again, it's that pressure, isn't it? And having to think, okay, you don't have to do all the big expensive things. It's just the little things that mean the most sometimes, isn't it?
Well, I think like in film especially, you dedicate a lot of your time to the job, like a lot of your time. So your spare time, or the time that you take away from the job after you've finished, a lot of people go on holiday or have a break and do something nice with their money, and I know I wasn't in the position to even do that. Like, I saved enough to get myself a car, which I needed, but I couldn't then afford to take a break, and I think that was sort of the issue. So I want to be in a position where I can save from work, so obviously try and get promoted as much as I can, like in my department, field, which is going to take years. It takes a lot of experience, and there's no way I'm saying I'm going to be able to get up to that level by the time I'm 25, 26. There's just no way. There is absolutely no way.
It takes a while.
It takes a long time and a lot of experience and a lot of knowing what you have to be certain you know what you're doing. That is 100%, especially in my department. It's such a sort of fast-paced department. You need to know what you're doing. And I just think, for me, if I took a break now, I'd be taking time out that I could be using working and building myself up and getting closer to that position where I can. And that's the frustrating thing. What do I do with my time?
Because it's say for example, so I do runner/junior researcher roles at the moment. So I'm still at the bottom. So if I said, right, I'm going to take 6 months / a year out and go travelling, I have missed all that time that I could be working, getting money, saving, getting experience, climbing the ladder. Do you know? And I don't want to do that till I'm at least 27.
Yeah.
Takes 6 months out, because I want to be at least assistant producer, if not producer, by the time I do that. I want to be at that level before I think, okay, let's do a bit of travelling. I need to get to that point. What level do you want to get to before you kind of take a travelling break, I guess?
See, that's the thing with me. I'm in the position, not saying, so by the time I'm 27, I have no idea. I know I want to be sort of in a position where I know what I'm doing and I'm happy in my position, and I don't want to be a trainee at 27, that's for sure. No. But I think at 20, I have this whole thing in my head, and I know it's not fair to compare myself to other people, I understand that, but I have this thing because I left college, I guess, or school, and went and worked, and all my friends went to uni. I want to be in a good position by the time all my friends have finished uni, because then it was worth it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the experience I've had, absolutely amazing. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been incredible.
Tell the viewers, what have you've worked on? Tell them right now. You've got to big yourself up sometimes.
I've worked on 2 productions. I worked on Star Wars and James Bond. And that was incredible. Like, that was amazing. And, you know, I really value the experience I had on those jobs, and I wouldn't change that for the world. And, you know, I was so lucky to get those positions. Don't get me wrong, I am so grateful that I got those positions.
But yeah, you're lucky, but you worked for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You didn't just get handed it on a plate. That's the thing. You work for these like jobs that you get given. That's the difference.
Like, especially the first job, Star Wars. Like, I went with a lot of previous sort of work I'd done at home and stuff, and shown that I had this passion for film, which for some reason, like, they liked. Oh my god, it still blows my mind. But like, yeah, I think that experience, I'm happy to, my friends come out of university and I'll be like, well, I've done this with my time. Like, oh my god. And again, I don't want to compare myself to people, but like, you do. Everyone does that.
I do all the time.
COVID's messed this up completely. I'm 21 next year, and I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, I want to be sort of in a position where I'm like, okay, well, I've worked to this position. I've spent 3 years that I could have been at university, but I've done something with those 3 years that is valuable for me. And I think that's sort of what my point was. This year's just a bit of a clusterfuck, but you know.
It's just you can't do anything.
No, and I think that's with everyone. So I think, you know, it's something we can really change.
It's hard, isn't it? But I think for us, like, we're kind of workaholics, aren't we? We like it, but our careers are very rewarding in a sense, aren't they? Because you get credits on blockbuster films, like I get credits on like TV shows. Like, it is really rewarding. So it does make it worth it in the long run, doesn't it? To kind of see your credit at the end of, it's the best feeling, isn't it?
Because some people,
it makes
like,
it all worth
a lot
it.
of my friends, well, not a lot of them are very supportive, but like, you know, a few people I know, you know, they're just like, it's a line on a black screen, why do you care so much? And I'm like, that line, that your name on that screen, like, it's sort of symbolic of all the hard work you put in for that, like, you know, 7 months of fucking hard fucking work. Like, I worked so hard, and that little line with my name on it, no matter what my position was, like that, and I think anyone who has a credit on a film will say the same. It means so much to see that and go, yeah, I've been recognised for the work I've done. I think that's the thing. When I was 18, I was like, oh, do I take a gap year? Do I go to uni? Do I go? And I'm so glad I worked on like that film. I was just so, I don't know, at the end of it all, when I went to the cinema and I watched it, it felt so amazing to be like, yeah, I was so proud of you. Thank you.
Yeah, so
like, it
proud.
felt amazing.
And it's also nice, your friends and your family being proud of you, isn't it? That's the thing, because when I can remember when I was at my 21st birthday party last year, and I was like, before I cut the cake, I felt like I was like at a baby shower or something like that. It was so funny. At my birthday party, I cut into the cake and my best friend was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. I was like, very funny. I'm not. But I like kind of made the announcement that I had Bake Off, and just seeing all their faces, because obviously Bake Off is a well-loved show, like in regards to all different sort of ages. And just seeing their faces like so proud, I was like, this is so nice. And it's times like that you're like, oh, it's the best feeling ever, I think. There was some times when I was on location on Bake Off, and I'd be on like the late shift, so we'd be there till like 10 o'clock at night, and the sun would be setting like by the tent, and I would just be walking towards it, and I'd just be like, what is my life?
Moments like that, when I was walking to set sometimes, and I'd just sort of be like, I'm here right now. Like, and you just sort of, I know it sounds really deep, but like, you're so grateful.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, like, it's so worth it. So then you sort of, do you want to continue doing this? Because I think while you get those moments on like the productions you're on, where you're like, this is amazing. Like, I am so lucky. And I think that's sort of, that itself is such a lovely feeling. Like, you know, I remember, walking around the studio or walking towards a set and just sort of taking it all in and being like, wow, and especially because it was my first job as well. I was like, wow. You know, I look back at my experience in that film and I'm like, yeah, there's so many things on there. I'm like, I was 18. I had this massive responsibility, and I completely understand my department now, like looking at me as an 18-year-old, like, you are only 18. And I think that's something I just didn't even think about.
I know what you mean though, because like, I think for me, I look back on Bake Off last year and I was like, wow, I was very young still. And I think the last job that I did very much give me an insight on how stressful it is and the pressures, and I had to be on the ball, I had to be mature and everything like that. And I think that's why for us, we pick our careers over traveling and that sort of stuff, because we want to continue to grow and get this experience and live our life that way first, because it's just, you have to do it, I think, and it's a good move to do in our careers. Whereas I guess if you're at uni, you finish uni, then you'll go travelling, for example, before you settle into a
figure
job.
out what you want to do, you know, like, whereas we've already sort of, I mean, I'm not saying that this is something I'll be doing forever, like, you know, maybe I will change my mind. Like,
I got plans up my sleeve that I want to do, but
like, I remember saying, I mean, it's still, I love editing, and, you know, it's something that I have always wanted to do. But I remember saying, like, to my whole department when I was 18, they're like, I was like, yeah, I only ever want to edit. I've always ever wanted to edit. They're like, you are 18, you do not know that. And I was like, no, I do. And it's like, Harriet, no, you don't. Like, just fucking listen to them. Like, you don't. And I literally look back at myself and I'm like, you should have just listened. Like, I completely understand what they were on about now. I still had a lot of growing to do, and I still do have a lot of growing to do. And I think that's something as well, like, at uni, you grow, like, I guess, so
just at a different rate, isn't it, in a different way?
Exactly. Like, I think we sort of, me and Karis have grown, like, in a sort of in career wise and sort of work wise, we've grown.
We're surrounded by older people as well, so
yeah, exactly.
we've had
my whole
to carry
department were like
different.
old enough to be like, I mean, some of my people were old enough to be my parents, my grandparents, like,
exactly.
You know,
yeah.
So you're constantly around people who are older than you, so I think you do, like, mature a little bit, like,
totally. You have to.
Yeah, like there was, I think it was almost a 10-year gap between me and the second youngest person in that department, and that was sort of like a whoa. But I think, with people at uni, I think, I'm not saying they don't mature, because they do, but I think it's a different sort of, it's a different type and a different, because they still pay bills.
And they have to live by themselves. They don't, if they live in halls, they're not with their family, which we haven't. I lived in a shared house in Plymouth for a couple of months because I wanted to live by myself and not with my parents, but you have to do that for a couple of years, which we haven't had to do. Well, you lived by yourself in London,
lived by
actually,
myself,
didn't you?
But and I think the difference was between the uni halls and me living by myself is especially in the first year of uni, which is when I moved out as well. They all lived with people and with friends, and they had a whole flat of people, whereas I was very isolated. And I think that's the difference. And as well, like, everyone I knew was a lot older, but not to say we both moved out of our homes, but I think we both had that experience that we're both living away from home. A lot of my friends will say, you know, they get lonely at uni because they maybe haven't made friends with their flatmates, or you know, and I think it'd be sort of unfair for us to say or even compare, because we've never had that experience, but I would say it's unfair for them to compare to us as well, like, you know, we'll never really know.
It is, and I love it. Like, I love the fact that we work in the industries we do. However, it is kind of lonely sometimes, because, like, I'm constantly having to move for, like, the opportunities and stuff like that, and I would never not, just because of family and friends or boyfriends or whatever, I would never turn an opportunity down because of that. However, you know, I just spent 7 months away from my mum and my dogs. Like, it was hard. Like, it was hard, and I had to do it.
Especially at our age, I think that's the thing. We keep forgetting, like, you know, at our age, you want to spend time with your, like, friends and your family. Like, and a lot of my friends came home for the summer from uni, and I was still working in London. And I think, you know, they were all at home here, and they're like, oh, come out, like, on a Tuesday night, and I'm like, I'm at work. I time in London. You have to put
Yeah.
work first, and I think a lot of them didn't get that. My job was full time, and you can't just ring up every day and be like, I'm not coming in. Like, you can't, your whole team relies on you. You have to just
Yeah.
be there. And I think that's a lot of things like my friends didn't understand, was that my job always would come first. They would be like, oh, you know, you're only going to be 19 or 18 once. You need to come out. You need to enjoy your time with us. And I'm like, I have a massive responsibility right now. I need to put this first, and I will
Yeah.
never like not put my crew
Not.
first. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
that's something that, especially on the production I was on, like it's a massive like responsibility.
It's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, like I'm not just
Really?
gonna shit all on it because, you know, my friends want to
No.
go and drink at the pub.
Get
like, you know what I
pissed,
mean?
yeah.
With work as well, if I do continue to work and I do continue to save from work, I might finally get to the place I want to be
Yeah.
and, you know, settle down and, you know, move to wherever I want to move to. But it's just, I think, a matter of when I decide to move and whether I want to travel before I continue, or, and I think that's part of our, you know, thing. Do we want to,
Yeah.
when do we want to move? What do we want to do? Like, and I think, you know, I'd love to hear like what everyone else sort of feels like on this as well. Like,
Yeah, I'm going to do a poll because I think maybe we should do potentially like a part 2 on this and get people's opinions, because I would love to know what other people's opinions are and how, if they feel any pressure as well. And because, yeah, I think that'd be really interesting because I could talk about this for ages. So I think if we do a part 2 on this would be great. So then we can get your guys' opinions. We'll do a couple of polls on Instagram as well. So if you can get like involved in that, that'd be amazing. And then we'll do a part 2 on it and have a little chat about what you guys think as well and what your sort of plans and paths are for your lives, really.
yeah, like, and even if like you have no idea, because I think that's something we touched on at the
we
beginning.
want to know
like,
that too.
you have no idea what you want to do, tell us, like, you know.
Yeah.
I think, like we said, we're quite privileged and we sort of know at least what industry we want to be in, but I know there's a lot of people who have no clue, like,
No.
and that must be so difficult, like, you know, we don't understand that. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
we don't understand what anyone at university is going through, or anyone in another industry. Student nurses, my god,
my God.
props to you.
Teachers, one of my best friends is a teacher and she's 22. Mind blown. She's amazing. Do you know? Like, it's incredible.
Like that,
Big up
that's such
Georgia.
a massive pressure that we'll never understand. And I think, I mean,
Yes.
as- like I was saying, student nurses who are working, and during COVID as well, and not getting paid for it, like, and doing the same shifts and the same hours, and, you know, and they still have to then do their university work as well. But they have, I just don't understand how they do it. Like, honestly, hands down, like, fucking
It's
could
mad.
never do that. So
No.
yeah, like, just let us know, really. Just
Yeah.
give us your thoughts on the whole thing and what you want to feel like. Do you feel like you're wasting your time? Do you feel like you're in a good place? You know, what do you feel
Yeah.
like you should do?
It'd be really good to know, actually, and
Yeah.
see what everyone's thinking about it. Because everyone's different, isn't it? Everyone's path's different. So it'd be really good to know kind of what your opinions are, isn't it? So yeah, let us know.
Do that.
Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode. I'm very excited because we'll be doing a part 2 on online dating, which I'm so excited about. We're going to be reading your stories, sort of dating dilemmas, worst date scenarios.
We've had a lot of
and I
people
am
message us with their
buzzing.
stories, so
Oh, they are golden, absolutely golden. So yeah, tune in next week for that. That is going to be hilarious. All stories are obviously kept anonymous, so
Yeah,
we
no
won't
names.
be calling anyone out.
yeah, don't worry about that.
Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.